Okay guys, I got a treat for you today. This is the Dow Jones chart. I'm going to recreate this from scratch, show you how I created it and the benefits of using fib circles to compare current cycles to previous cycles. Guys, if you do appreciate this content and you want to show me your support, leave a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm also going to give you an ideal point to short Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you some new charts I created as well. So before I recreate this chart, let's just go through this real quick. So March 7th, I said I entered a short. Guys, you want to get access to Discord and the charts. The link to sign up is in pinned the first comment description. You can also pay with USDT, but you need to email me through the website. This is a short I entered up here at 22,277, and currently I'm in profit about $2,700. I did open a second short. I did set my stop loss in profit and got stopped out. I told everyone in Discord to short 21,773. I was about $500-600 in profit, wrote it up, got stopped out. But an ideal point to short, notice this blue moving average on the 2 hour. Every time I hit it, we get rejected. You can clearly see how much resistance this line is here. Again, the way I create these charts, I have support and resistance levels that nobody else can see. We can see in advance. So we know that 21,000 hit is strong resistance, and if this moving average moves down to this point, price pushes up to test it, ideal point to short. So again, I will be entering another short, 21,800. I think the smarter play is to always be in a short. Even if you get stopped out and it pushes up higher, get in another short, because I expect a lot of downside soon, big moves. So being in a short all the time is a smart play. Even if you're scalping along, have a short open. But we could push back up. This would be an ideal point to short 21,800, especially if you make contact when this moving average is at this resistance. And this is also in confluence here, this M1 chart, 21,793. Keep in mind, 21,500 is a very strong support. This is previous lows and previous highs going back a good ways. So it's a fight between 21,800 and 21,500. And I made this same post. This is where I said I entered my second short. And this is what I just showed you here. This would be an ideal point to short. So I keep everyone updated in Discord. And then I will go through and show you some new stocks charts, gold, and altcoin charts I created. I did publish all of these charts. So later, as they play out, I can show you how they played out, but I'll show you what they look like. So let's get onto this and recreate this chart. Now, the great thing about fib circles is, again, you can compare previous cycles. Even though price action is different, or you have price action that's yet to be formed, you can still compare the cycles. And basically, I'm showing this cycle here matches this cycle and giving targets and timing. So I'm going to recreate this. This is no different from the chart I created for Bitcoin. This was a video I put up about a year ago. And this is the same thing. I was using this blue fib circle to compare our current cycle to our previous cycle back in 2019. Had all kinds of crazy comments on this video. People saying, looks like onion rings, your charts look like solar systems. Well, we all know how this played out. I'll put a link to this video now if you want to check it out. This is a published version of this chart. Published this on November 14, 2021. This yellow one here is this cycle. Blue one was our current cycle, and you can see what happened. We crossed that ring, right? Crossed the ring, drop. Crossed the ring, drop. We came down. I still believe our downside target is 10K or lower. I think the lowest point we could possibly go is around 7,500 to 8,000. That's a moving target, depends on when you hit it. But this is more about comparing cycles. This here is a chart. I've made a video about this as well. I told everyone way in advance. I said when we hit this ring, this could be the top for the Dow, to expect some downside. It says Dow should drop when we make contact with green ring. I have a line here, I have an arrow here. This is published on August 22nd, 2021. And you can see what happened. We hit that ring, we came down. And if you watch previous videos, one was about 60%, start of a 60% correction for Bitcoin in 60 days. I'll put a link up to that video now. And I also mentioned one about crash in March, and it's because of this ring here. We're at this ring. So this chart that I'm going to show you now is just further confluence of the chart I just showed you. And this is why I'm saying I think it's smart to be in a short all the time and ready for the big drop. So I'm going to clear all of this off. I've got this chart memorized. But I'm going to just show you how I created this chart and how you can use fib circles, again, to compare previous cycles to the current cycle. So I'm just going to delete everything off this chart. And I'm going to go to candles. So basically what I'm doing here is, I was looking at this cycle, and I could tell, if you'll notice right here, this to me looks very similar right here to this. And we'll have to keep in mind that this is something that could play out as well. That also shows when I recreate this chart. So let me show you how I did this. So let's go back and Well, we can tell that this is our bottom, right? This price is going sideways. We bottomed here and we pushed up, right? So that was one cycle. Right here, you can see this price was just going sideways. At this point, price pushed up. So to me, that's one cycle. So if I create a fib circle here, let me make sure I got everything set correctly. I do. All right, so we're going to connect. We're going to go from this point right here, right? And I believe, now let me show you what I'm talking about. So this point here, this is a Dow Jones chart. I think how this is playing out. So let me show you what I'm expecting. So I think this point right here, right? Make this white. I think this point here is this point right here. If that is the case, that would mean that we have some more downside, that we're pretty much topped out to come in to put a lower low. And if we move this arrow over here, you can see what I'm expecting. So I'm expecting to come down and put in a lower low. That also means if this cycle plays out like this one, remember markets are cyclical. You know, what's the saying? It doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. That's because maybe it's human emotion, greed, maybe people are somewhat predictable. But with inflation, you know, interest rates on the rise, a lag effect, and this has happened before, and it repeats in kind of a similar way. And again, comparing cycles, this can kind of show us potentially where these targets are. But the main point is to show you how using fib circles can help you find these targets and the timing. So I think it's very possible that this could all repeat. And again, we would have another low over here somewhere. So I'm going to show you all of this. All right, so basically what I did was I connected from this point here, right? From this, where everything changed, went from sideways, started going parabolic, up to this point, assuming that this point right here is where we currently bottomed right here, and we're topped out right here. So let's create another fib circle, and let's go from this low, right? So this is where things change. This is where we started going parabolic. So let's go from this point to this point, and you'll notice already, you can see that it's starting to look a little similar. See the price action is below this ring, right? Same thing here. Price action is below this ring. So we're moving down this ring right now. Okay, so how do we find out? So this is where we bottomed, right? This price here was 7,100. Well, how can we find that possible target and a timing for that? Well, this is a great thing with fib circles. Now, I was playing around with different ways to do this, and so I've already created this chart before. So if we go from this point right here, right, start from this low here, and we come back to this ring, this gives us a reference point to compare, right? And if you notice, when we do that, we make contact with this ring right here, right at this ring. So let's do the same thing over here. We'll start from this low and come back to this white ring. And you can see now we have a possible point to make contact. But I also found another point we could connect these to give you a more precise target. And it was from this point down to where this blue and yellow ring intersect. So this is what I'm talking about. We have reference points where rings intersect. There's no price action there, but we have intersecting points on rings to give us these possible points to make contact and timing. There's no price action over here, but we do have these intersecting rings. If I zoom in on this, you can see we make contact right where these two, actually look at that, we find support on this yellow ring. The next time we drop, we make contact where these two rings intersect, we come back up and make contact with this white ring. So we can recreate that also. So we can come over here, we come from our low here, and come down to where these rings intersect. And you can see that gives us our target right here. And the timing for that is, that's the 7th of August 2023. So that could be when we had, well, it could start any time. I think we're already headed down, but that gives you a possible time frame and a target. And what this also implies, if you'll notice, let me get rid of this. This also implies that it's very possible. Notice this red ring right here. When we cross this red ring, this is when we had that next major drop right here. We pushed up, we rode down this red ring. That's when we had that next major crash. And remember, interest rates are on the rise. Inflation's somewhat coming down. It's kind of sticky. It's possible, you know, inflation can go up and then it goes down, and then it goes right back up again. So this is why it's cyclical. Inflation, starts coming down, markets start pushing up, and then it starts all over again. So it's very possible this could happen again. But this also shows you a timing for this as well, right here. So this is that ring. So this would be a point to watch. So if it does something like previously, so it would come down, make contact here, then we would start pushing up. Once you make contact with this red ring, that's when the next cycle would begin, and that would be way out here. Hold on, let me grab this arrow. So that would be out here somewhere. So let's compare, just to find previous lows and highs. So let me put this on line drawing so it's easier to see, and let's just compare these. So let me zoom in a bit, and let me use a horizontal ray here. So we know that when we dropped, and I'm comparing these rings, they're different colors with our current cycle here. So we dropped just below the white ring, right? So our low, you see how it was just below this white ring. This is also a previous low here. So if we come over here, let's compare that. Let's go to this point right here. So just below the white ring, that would be a top, right? Previous high. So potentially, and that's a lot of confluence right there. That target would be, this is 26,760, and that's what? This is around the 17th of July 2023. So that would be your first target. So if we push up, well, what's an upside target? Well, if we compare this, just looking at this fib circle right here, where did we top out? Well, let's compare it with this orange ring and this blue ring. It looks like that's halfway up, almost halfway up, right? So orange ring, blue ring. So if we come over here and compare, we come just above this point, right? Here's the orange ring, here's the blue ring. That would put our peak about right here. So that means potentially when we push up, this would be the point you'd want to short. That'd be the highest point we go. This is way off. This is years out, but that's how long it took this cycle to play out. And this downside target. So if we compare that, well, let's look at this. So the lowest point we dropped when we had this major drop here, we came down to just below this the top of this blue ring. So let's compare. Just below the top of that blue ring would put us about right here. So that'd be the lowest point. So I'm just showing you this is how you can compare cycles using fib circles, and using, when you create the fib circle, when you have a reference point and then you have a ring where you come back to a previous ring, then you can start connecting other points of these fib circles where the rings intersect to give you price targets and compare the cycles. So I do believe the same cycle is playing out. As you can see, we are getting back here. We got rejected at this yellow ring. We came down, found support. We pushed up, right, crossed this red ring, and then we had a major crash. I think the exact same thing could play out. That's why I'm going to stay in the short. I believe we had a lot of downside. So potentially we're already topped out. Doesn't mean we can't push up a bit, but I think ultimately we are topped out with the Dow. And keep in mind, NASDAQ, S&P, they all move together. So if the Dow's coming down, the other markets are coming down as well. So potentially we're looking at one hell of a drop, why I want to always be in a short. And then we'll start pushing up. Maybe this is when the Fed pivots, or maybe the Fed pivots while this drop happens. Typically, markets crash after the Fed pivots because something's already broke. But either way, markets could push back up. This is what happened in the previous cycle. We push up to this point, right? Cross this ring, top out, and then we ride down this ring to put in our bottom. That's when we have our next crash, and then maybe the bull run starts back. But again, I just wanted to show you how I created this chart and how using fib circles allows you to, or gives you a possible way to compare previous cycles. And again, that's the exact same thing I did here, just a little less complicated when I created this one. So the charts I've currently created, guys, this is my Apple chart. Now, again, I published these charts. This was created, these charts are created over the last week. Not much time has passed. I will show you the published charts down the road, how they've played out, but I just want you to see how I create these charts, where I give you your support and resistance levels, and some of these charts actually create rings. Like Tesla, this is new Tesla chart. So if we drop, well, you can see how price is expecting this blue fib circle, support, support, resistance. So you know if we drop, a likely target, this green line was support, this blue ring will be support, so a likely point too long would be down here, Currently, you'd want to be in a short. You're underneath this ring now. If you push up, you would short this point. Just showing you how you can use these rings. This yellow ring is a pivot ring. The blue rings are support and resistance, and you have your fib channel lines. This is NASDAQ chart, same thing. So NASDAQ looks like we have a little upside. We're at a support ring. If we break this, which guys, pretty soon, I'm expecting all the markets to come down. This would be an ideal point too long. If we push up, this would be a point to scalp a short. Again, you're expecting the fib channel lines and the rings. This here's gold, and you can see this ring has been a lot of support and resistance. We came down to this ring, found support, a lot of support and resistance. We top out. Every time we hit this ring, push above it a bit and top out. So this would be a point too long, point too short, point too long. This is Solana, so I created some altcoin charts as well. I can't wait to go back and play these out, how they played out. But some of these on the 2 hour and the day, so more time needs to go by before I can show you how it plays out. But once we broke this line here, this line was the support and resistance level. As soon as we found support and we broke it, we started coming down. So we're close to a support level with Solana right now. This is the 2 hour. You can see this is a zoomed in version, so we're getting very close to a support level if you want to catch along. And this would be your resistance. And obviously you have a lot of resistance up here. This is theta. The white lines are your strongest support and resistance level. So I created these charts on the daily, and then I added fib channels on the smaller time frame to give you more precise targets if you want to swing trade. But we're at support right now, and there's a moving average here. So all of these charts that I create for altcoin charts, I put the 200, the 50-day, and the 100-day moving averages on here. So it's on the daily and the 2 hour. So this is at support, to be a point too long theta. Again, this is the 2 hour. You see I added more fib channels to give you more targets to swing trade. You see, look how accurate that's been. We every time we hit this line, we get rejected, resistance, 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 and here's your support. So right now, you'd be in a short. You would long this point, you short this point. If you push up to this point here, this would be an ideal point to short. Again, all your support resistance levels are already mapped out. This here's Matic. Matic is at support on the 100-day moving average. If we come down, this would be a point too long. But you can see how price is respecting this fib channel. So this gives you points too long and short that potentially other people would not know. They're playing the patterns. We're playing fib channels created from, and I can zoom out and show you this. If I zoom out on this chart, you can see how I create this chart. Basically, I start with a trend line that price is respecting going way back. Hold on. This might not be the best one to show you, but the way I create these charts, let me see. Let's go to Ethereum real quick. All right, this is Matic. This is placed along. So this Ethereum chart on the 1 day. Let me zoom out and show you the bigger picture of this chart. So basically, what I do is I find the most important trend lines that price is respecting in two different directions. This gives me a fib channel in one direction, fib channel in another direction. Once you have the strongest support and resistance levels, then you add fib channels to these charts. So basically, you're taking the most key support and resistance levels. You're creating a structure from that. Once you find that structure, then you create smaller structures within. And that's how I'm able to find these fib circles and find these smaller points too long and short. You see currently we're riding right down this line here. Also have the Bollinger Band on the daily. So you're at support right now. We're at a key support level for Ethereum. If Ethereum breaks 1,520, well, we have one hell of a drop down, potentially 1,376. That would be below the 100-day moving average. But again, you can see this ring. Price has been respecting this yellow fib circle. So this implies, and this is a great thing about having charts, since altcoins typically follow Bitcoin. Well, I'm expecting the downside for Bitcoin, but you can see clearly it looks like Ethereum is going to continue to move down this ring for a lot of downside. We know that this white ring is going to be a lot of support. So again, you can take charts for Ethereum and other charts, and if it shows that you have potential downside going by rings, well, that could tell you, well, if Ethereum's coming down, Bitcoin's probably coming down as well. But I do think we have some downside for Ethereum based on this yellow ring, and this is going to be a lot of support right here. This is the 2 hour version of that same chart. You see we're currently at support. A lot of support here at 1,522. A lot of resistance up here at 1,551. This is Litecoin. I've yet to add fib circles, but you can see how well price is respecting the structure. So we're currently at support with Litecoin on this line right here, right? So if this line breaks, and this is actually a lot of support, you have support there, and you have support here. So this would be a point too long from. If that breaks, well, your next support level is just below. So this is an ideal chart for scalping. This is XRP, same thing. I have yet to add any fib circles. But see, currently it looks like we're in a pattern, and the great thing is this isn't just a pattern. I didn't draw a pattern. This is actually a structure. A fib channel chart shows that this is your resistance, right? This is your support. It's pretty damn obvious, so something's going to happen soon, right? Within the next, and this is on the daily, within the next 16 days, we'll be getting close to the apex. So I'll give you price targets on this one just to show you. So if we push up, your next resistance you watch is 0.44, and if we drop, your next support level to watch, you can see we got a wick down to this point. Your point to watch is 0.33, and we have more targets below. And again, as I say, always look left. I took the time to map out the direction of price and your key support resistance levels. You can see this line here has been a lot of support. So that would be an ideal point to scalp along, especially if you have another fib channel line in the opposite direction. That's double support. You can see this line, we made contact here. We made contact here, so you know that's going to be a very strong support level to catch a nice bounce. So that's how you play the charts. Again, I took the time to find your key support resistance levels. So when price comes down, you just look left, and that's how you know if you need to long or short. Again, guys, if you want to sign up, get access to these charts, website's opticrypto.com. I do have stocks available now, so you can sign up, get access to them. I'm going to try to create about 3 to 4 charts every few days and just keep adding on to stocks, altcoins, precious metals. To get access to Bitcoin charts and Discord, it's $49 a month. Remember, you can pay with USDT, but you need to email me through the website, and I have tutorials teaching you how I create these charts from scratch if you're interested in doing that as well. But that's it, guys. I'm out. Trade safe, trade smart.